Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, depending on which part of the world you are in. I'm your host, Nalin Chandna. I am the CEO of National Gas Company Oman, based out of Muscat, Oman in the Middle East. I'm also a certified leadership coach, trainer, and an inspirational speaker. I'm presenting to you today TLRNOW's 18th Ask Me Anything session. TLRNOW is a niche training consulting mentoring organization which provides customized training programs to organizations, not-for-profits, educational institutions. We are doing this session. This is the 18th session today. We've had 17 sessions so far. And this 18th session is here today. We've had combined viewership of more than 12,000 audience so far. So I'm very happy to inform you all. We have a very special guest on our forum today, Annika Toned. She's a dear friend of mine. She's also a fellow JMT certified speaker, coach and trainer. She's a confidence expert and an award-winning speaker. She's the creator of the transformational coaching program, You Own Your Life. She is a former kickboxing champion. She has published several books, an Amazon bestseller as well amongst them. Very warm welcome to you, Annika.
Thank you, Nalin. It's so great to see you. How are you?
Very good, very good.
Yeah, it's been a while since we met.
Yeah, I think it's been 2 years now. We met in Florida last.
Yes, and it's I hope we will meet there soon again.
Definitely. I'm not sure whether we'll have the event this year due to the lockdowns and the coronavirus, but yeah.
When you're waiting for something good.
Yeah, sure. So before we start, Annika, I would request you to tell us something about yourself in terms of how your journey has been, how your experience has been, and where you are today. So a brief about that.
So first of all, thank you for having me on. I'm very excited to be sharing this moment with you. So I am originally Swedish, and I come from Gothenburg, second largest city in Sweden. I've lived and studied a little bit all over the world. So Stockholm in Sweden, London, Paris, California, and now I'm based in Luxembourg, the green heart of Europe.
Paradise.
Yeah, you call it paradise. It's interesting with perspective. We have quite a lot of rain here in gray days, but lately, thank God, with this lockdown, we've had fantastic weather. So yeah, I'm based here. I have 3 children born in 1 year. They are now 12, 12, and 13. Having a lot of fun with them. It's my best opportunity for personal development. I'll let you think about what that can mean. So I came to Luxembourg 20 years ago to work for the European Parliament. I was so young then, and it was all an adventure. I think a lot about my life has been about adventure and exploring and learning and developing and growing. And then came the point when my private life fell to pieces. So I've been a single parent for the last decade. And then, when your private life is hard, you need to fill up somewhere. And I felt that the job I was doing was not the right thing for me. So then I shifted career and I trained a lot. I've never studied so much, worked with the best in the field to become a certified coach and speaker. So that's what I do now. For the past 6 years, I run my own business, Act to Exceed, working with individuals and groups and speaking. And now I've launched this month, actually, my online coaching program and my podcast, which I'm very excited about.
Many congratulations, Annika. Many congratulations.
Thank you.
So, Annika, the way we are going to approach this program today is I have a few questions for you, and then we have the audience watching us. So I've got the chat box next to my screen here. So whenever I get pop-ups, I'll keep on asking those questions as well. In the meantime, we'll carry on with our conversation. So just to start with, our session today is influence with confidence. Yeah. So confidence is the core of our session today. So if I ask you, what does being confident feel like? And I mean, how are confident people different from others?
Okay, a great question. So to begin with, I would like to say, I don't know if you've heard the expression, your mess is your message. Meaning, if you're dealing with something in life that is really hard, you're going through something or you have this big thing that feels like a problem, the worse it is, the more
Right.
you know about it. So that I work so much now with
Yeah.
confidence and influence and helping people become their everything. That was not the case for me a few years back. So, like I said, when we opened up, my personal life fell apart. And one of the reasons it came to that point was that I had no self-confidence. I had extremely low self-esteem, zero, basically. So how does it feel to be
Mm.
confident? Having gone through an incredible amount of work on personal development, my own personal growth, if you ask me, I think if you ask 100 people, you will get 100 answers. But if I were to put words on what it feels like to be confident, I would say freedom. Oh my gosh, to be free from the I call it OPO, other people's opinions. It's a syndrome that so many people suffer from. To not worry about what others think of you, or if you do this, what will they say? If you
Mm.
don't want to do this, will you be judged? It's freedom to be exactly who you are. And
Right.
if you look at loving oneself, which is a little bit, do we really want to talk about that? But ultimately, it's what we all want and need deep down inside. And if
Absolutely.
you feel comfortable with yourself to the point that when you're alone and there's no fun activity on the schedule, nothing coming up, you're not going to have a visitor, but you're just comfortable with yourself, because when you are at peace with who you are, you're
Mm-hmm.
okay. And that's a very empowering feeling. So how does it feel? It feels like freedom. It feels empowering. You feel unstoppable. It feels great.
Yep.
What do you think? How does it feel for you?
Absolutely. I mean, being confident, I think, is gives you so much freedom, gives you so much power to do things that you've always wanted to do. I
Yeah.
mean, you otherwise you live in your self-limiting beliefs always.
Yeah.
So being confident gives you that courage to go out and do what you've always wanted to do, to pursue your passion, to do the things that are close to your heart.
Absolutely. I think another thing you can add is um, when you have very low self-esteem or no confidence, you have these dreams and you consider them dreams. They're so unreachable that they're dreams, and you carry them and you appreciate them, or you love them, or you long for them. But when you step into fully being you, owning that space and being confident, all of a sudden you start taking action. So the dreams, step by step, all of a sudden, oops, it turns into your reality,
Yeah,
dream
yeah,
after dream.
yeah. So we have one comment and one question. Abhay Chandna has commented that he's looking forward to an inspiring session. So yes, I assure you, you'll have a great inspiring session. And then we have a question from a gentleman, Rajesh Sharma. He says, quick question, does people you spend time with have a big influence on your self-esteem and confidence?
Ooh, I like this question, Rajesh. So great question. Um, well, they say that the five people you spend the most time with, you become the average of them. So whether that is by people you choose to be with, or people who you have to be with because maybe you work with them every day, or it's someone in your family, the five people you spend the most time with, you become the average of them. So you really want to choose who you let into your inner circle. You really want to choose that. And then someone might say, but I can't because I live with my brother, or I married someone 25 years ago and we're no longer who we married. Um, well, then I'm just going to say, if someone has a negative influence on you, you want to limit the time you spend with that person. Actually, I'm going to say that even harsher. I'm going to say you want to limit the time you waste with them. That's That's how hard it is. And you want to select you want to invest your time with a select group of people who lift you, who inspire you, who encourage you, who teach you things, who make you laugh, who make you feel loved and appreciated. So yes, it has an incredible impact. And incredible. Whether it's like a child, you can see, take young teenagers who, by just one first bad choice and then a second and a third, end up in a criminal group. They become like their friends. You take another one who choose to step to the side and play football or study or read or have conversations, and they're going to have a complete different path in life. So it starts early, but we can always change it. No matter what your age, you can always change your circle of influence.
I think, as our mentor John Maxwell says, that are your friends taking you uphill or downhill? So that's very important. If your friends are not taking you uphill, or they're not adding value to you, or you're not gaining anything from them.
Yeah. If they take you downhill, change friends.
Absolutely. So thank you for that question, Rajesh. I've got another question from my dear friend Nabil Kazaruni. He says, confidence not always comes from within. How do you go about situations where you have to work with a team that have no confidence in?
So does Nabil mean that the team does not have confidence in themselves, or does the team mean that they don't have confidence in you as a leader?
So he says, situation we have to work with the team that is not confident. So maybe he's feeling that the team doesn't have confidence in them. So how do you charge them up? So I think that's his question.
Yeah. So my response is that my opinion is that confidence comes from within. Now, if you feel like you are leading a team and they don't have confidence in you as a leader, I'll take the example of a client I worked with who was a vice president in a financial institution and felt that, well, this was the exact situation.
Right.
He has great values, very committed, hard worker. But for some reason, there was a gap. There was no confidence. His team did not respect him or look up to him as a leader. And then you get a very unconstructive situation. They will not bring their best. They will not commit to deliver. And my advice is that you have to make it your top priority to work on the relationship you have with the members in the team. Right. You have to do it one by one, and you have to do it as a group. I would ask for constructive feedback on how they view you as a leader or why they don't view you as a leader. That may be harsh, but I mean, if you want to grow into a place where you have you have influence over them, or they have trust in you, step by step, you have to build it. And it can be a hard process sometimes if you used to have it and it's broken. Sometimes it's close to impossible to regain. If it was never there and you just started off wrong, it's going to be much more easy to build it. But it's going to start with connecting with the individuals, making them see what you see, the bigger picture, making them feel part of you as a team, making a lot of effort to get there. What is it that would inspire each and every one of them to bring their best? Do you know? Like, ask them, what would you want when you come to work to feel that, oh yes, I want to bring my best. I really want to contribute for us to achieve this goal. If you ask that, they will feel seen, heard, and understood. And that's, I mean, we love that, don't we? Another thing is I would probably have a group meeting, depending on how large this team is. But I would have a meeting and I would ask them, not do you have an idea, but I would say, what is your greatest suggestion for an improvement we can make now to optimize our systems or how we work? I would ask everyone to bring to a meeting, what is your greatest suggestion, which would then inspire them to really come up with something fantastic. And out of all the ideas they bring to the table, I would pick one the one that has the least requirements on a financial impact to implement, the one that you can do fast and actually see a change, because then you will have them feel, wow, he asks me for my input and also he actually implemented it. It means I am really part of this. So I hope that helps and gives something to go for, a first step.
Sure. I think that answers Nabil's question. I'll quickly look at the comment box again. Hey Vikas, hi Alina. We've got a question from Srinivas saying, how to confidently influence when the message is not positive? For example, during the pandemic, communicating impact of pandemic on salaries, job cuts, etc.
Okay, great question. Srinivas.
Srinivas, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So if you're the one who has to bring the bad news and saying that there are going to be cuts, the way I would go about is that I would acknowledge the fact that this is a crisis. There is going to be damage to some. We're going to do everything we can to limit that. Let's say that you have 20 people. If you drop everyone's salary by 80%, nobody's going to be happy. Nobody wants that, right? But if you say, I'm going to drop everyone's salary to 80% and all of you get to keep your jobs, or you say 8 of you get to keep your job, but 2 of you I have to let go. Which are the 2 that want to go? Then all of a sudden it's a much nicer option to take. I'll take the 80%. Another thing is to focus on the positives. I mean, as a leader, you're going to have to find a perspective of something that is positive, something that brings hope or faith or a promise. And I would also bring that to my message. Being a leader, that's part of it. Having to bring the negative news. But I would kind of, if it was my team and if it was possible for this organization, I would say, everyone, we're going to together get through this. We all take a small punch now, but we're not going to go down. We're going to together push through. Everyone gets to stay, and we bring our everything to get back to 100%. I think that personally, I would love that from a leader, and I would definitely bring my best to show that I want my 100% back.
I think that's the true spirit of leadership, when you take people along, when you empower people, when you want good for all your people, your entire team. So I hope, Srinivas, your question is answered.
I would also cut my own salary, and I would make that very clear and transparent to everyone. So no privilege for the leader.
Wonderful. Okay. Thank you, Abhay, for your encouraging remarks. I have another question from Raghav. I'll ask something. What is the most important element in influencing your circle of friends or people to make them agree with your thoughts and ideas?
Mm-hmm. Interesting question, Raghav. So the way I hear the question, it almost sounds like, how do you manipulate them to agree with you? So manipulation and influencing is very different. And I'm going to answer about influencing. So what you want to do is, let's say you have this, you want your friends or your circle of influence to agree with you on this thing because you think it is so fantastic. What you want to do is to ask them what they want. And if you feel like, oh my goodness, we're so far apart, then you ask more questions that are going to hopefully lead into the scope of what you want, to find a common ground where you can say, oh, we want the same thing. And then you start presenting your project piece by piece, or whatever it is you want for them to also want. So it's not about making them want what you want. It's about inviting them to also want it, because it's going to be good for them. So help them see why it's good for them, why they would want it. I hope that answers the question.
And I think it's about not beating your own trumpet always. So we need to have great listening skills. That is important when we increase our influence.
And by asking the question simply to your circle of influence, you're going to get a lot of great answers if you listen. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, means talk, half of the time that you listen. And if you do that, I'm sure you're going to be able to pick up something that you can use as a strategy to create a nice package where everyone wants the same thing. And that is influencing in a great way.
Absolutely. Okay, we have the next question from Ansh. How do you find a balance between democracy and dictatorship in order to lead better?
That's a tough one. So start to sweat now. How do you find a great balance between democracy and
dictatorship in order to lead better?
That question was like an uppercut. How do you find the balance? I think leadership, being a great leader, means to be the one who courageously walks in front, who makes people feel like they want to walk with you, who makes people feel like they want to contribute to that cause. So maybe I should just acknowledge fully that I am not very engaged in politics because I have worked in a political environment, and let me be diplomatic and just say I don't appreciate much of what I've seen. And I have not seen a lot of great leadership in politics. So a great leader, either I am not able to answer the question, or I don't want to put leadership in between democracy and dictatorship. If you're a dictator and you decide one thing for everyone, are you really leading them then, or are you just forcing them? See, maybe I should just be quiet because I don't want to say something that is hurtful to anyone's political beliefs. What's your opinion? What's your answer to this, Nalin?
Yeah, I think because if we are looking at positional leadership, you've been given a position, and the reason you are actually leading people, so you don't really have their loyalty. And the first chance they get, they'll just run away because they are just working under you because they've been forced into that position. So I think, there are so many countries around the world having those kind of leadership patterns, whether democracy, whether dictatorship. I think getting into political discussion is not right for us, and it is a bit out of context. But I think the right leaders are those people who think about their people, who actually have a real influence on those people, so that people really want to follow them out of choice rather than being forced on them. And so many times a leader has such kind of vision that he or she sees so much ahead that people don't even know where they want to go, but they are so happy to get led by that people. Steve Jobs, for example, when he started Apple, he had a vision, but people who were working with him at that point of time didn't realize that what was coming, what as a corporation, what Apple would be, but they still kept on working with him because they had faith in him.
Yeah.
So I think it's that's what I would.
Then I would like to add, and I would take full responsibility for what this will lead to, but I would say a dictator would benefit greatly from studying great leadership.
Absolutely. Great. So we have the next question, Rajesh again. Do you prefer to focus on our primary strength and bring it to the table to stay confident, or build our strength on low stream to build confidence? I am not getting the question right. Do you prefer to focus on our primary strength and bring it to the table to stay confident, or build our strength on low stream to build confidence? So
okay.
Clear,
I think he probably mean low strength and not low stream. Yeah. So I will answer to what I think the question is. So personally, I always choose to focus on my strengths. I would never waste time investing on improving one of my really weak points. Because if I put in 40 hours of studying or working or perfecting whatever it is, something that I'm not really good at, okay, I might get medium, right? Whereas if I take the same amount of effort and I put all of that into the one thing I'm better at than most, I might even set myself apart and become number one. So I always, always, always focus all my energy into my strengths. And then when you grow, and if you grow fast, exponentially, I mean, the weak points you had won't matter that much because you're so good at something else.
Yeah.
That's my answer. How do you do, Nalin?
Yes, I think you should always get out of your comfort zone, but you should stay within your strength zone. So whatever you're good at, keep doing good. So if I'm good at something, I should keep on doing more of the same things, even though it is stretching me beyond my comfort zone. But if I'm a bad singer, I'm a speaker and I'm a coach, but if I start singing, which I'm really bad at, so I'm getting out of my strength zone. So people will not be here listening to me. They will shut off their laptops and leave. But if I am trying efforts to improve what I am good at or what I'm doing now, I think that is what we should be doing. So strengths, enhancing our strengths is always good.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So another question Rajesh is asking, should we change directions if we aren't matching expectations yesterday for a better tomorrow to be successful?
Should we change directions if we aren't matching expectations? Okay. Good question. So I have invented a little system that I called Pop-Up, POPOP, and it stands for, so let's say you set your expectations and you're going to do this. And was it Rajesh who asked?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Rajesh, you start and you make the effort and you feel like that didn't go as I wanted. I didn't get the results I expected, and I'm disappointed. So pop up, meaning pause to look at, should you proceed or pivot? If you give up after one day, then I say, no, you have to try longer. Is it, you have to give it your everything and still stop and pause to see if you should proceed or pivot. Take a ship that starts from Delhi and is going to New York. If you look at a map and it looks like, okay, Delhi, Delhi, New York, a straight line. But when you navigate, when you're the captain of the ship and you navigate there, it's going to be a zigzag thing. He's going to seek out to find, with the terrain and the obstacles and the weather and all that, he's going to find the way with all this coming at him or her, the fastest way. And it is not going to be a straight way. There are going to be disappointments, setbacks, challenges, mistakes made. And you have to look at them, analyze them, reflect on, okay, what works? What is going to have to work because we can't change it? What can we change? What seems to not be working at all? And then you improve and you move forward.
Definitely. I think the power of reflection gives you that edge. If you keep on monitoring and just reflecting on how your actions have resulted in, if they're not working well, you just change your way of action and just move forward.
Yeah.
Wonderful. We've got our next question from Abhay Chandna. He says, how do we master the art of becoming a good listener, especially in circumstances where the other person has no knowledge or idea of how to handle it? But since there are your superiors at work, you have to listen and reason with them. How do we handle such a situation, which are quite common at workplace?
When I hear things like that, I just feel so happy to be an independent. I just want to say that for a moment. I love what I do. But if you are an employee and you go to work where you feel that your superior does not have the same amount of expertise or knowledge that you have, but they still have opinions, I would listen. And then I would ask, I mean, if they say something that is clearly wrong, I would say, is it okay if I share just a reflection? You know, I would ask permission. I understand that it must be so frustrating for you to know that you have that much more competence, but I would still ask in a way that makes the superior feel that they're the boss, because they're going to have an ego you need to be friends with if you want to be in an environment that is nice for you. So I would ask nicely. I would say, can I share a thought on this, or can I share another perspective?
Yeah.
If you ask nicely, I mean, why on earth would the person say no? Um,
Absolutely.
and I mean, if you can present your thoughts in a way that makes them realize that, oh wow, that's good, then you get to move forward the way you want, the way you know is better. So you may not get the acknowledgement or the credit or the reward, but at least you get to be really good at your job, and you know that's the way.
Yeah, I think it's about finding the common ground as well. So you need to look at points where you could possibly get to an environment where the person is engaged with you or ready to listen to you, and then you subtly bring that point. So that might help as well.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So the next question we have again from Srinivas. He says, how do you differentiate good influence and bad influence to make proper judgment? How to avoid political influence, which is not on facts, but they are also to influence mass. They are able to influence masses.
Srinivas, okay. So how do you differentiate good influence and bad influence? I mean, some of it is obvious. Some you're going to have to go with your gut. And if you feel like, no, the gut, that's woo woo, or that's no, your gut is your largest organ, and it has feelings just like anything else. It has an intelligence. You know, when you have this feeling, like you can sense that something is going to happen, or you make a decision and you just feel in your whole body that is wrong. The more you start listening to that, the stronger. It's like a muscle. The more you use it, the better you get at it. There are people who make decisions based 100% on their intuition, and 99% of the time it's on target.
Yeah.
So that's, I mean, ask yourself, is this good? Is this good or is it bad? Use your own common sense. Use your gut. How to avoid political influence? Well, if you look at television, if you look at media, newspapers, they're gonna have a certain angle because of which political party runs that. So again, you're gonna have to choose the sources where you take in your information, and then you're gonna have your intellect, your experience, your wisdom, your own knowledge, and your gut.
Yeah. Awesome. Hope that answers Srinivas. We get to the next question from Ankur Virmani. He says, Anika, how to work towards building influencing skills in our team capabilities for next role.
How to work towards building influencing skills in our team. Okay. If I had a team of, let's say, 8 people, whatever number, I would ask them what they want to learn, how they want to grow. I would ask the questions so that they know that I'm expecting them to grow. I wouldn't say, "Do you want to take a training?" Because some are just going to say, "No, I'm good. I'm good." I would ask them, what is the area that would be most valuable for you to grow in? And then I would also ask, which is the area where you feel that it would enable you to do a better job? If they're the same, it's a done deal. That's what I would invest money and support to make sure that they get that training as a first step. If they're very different, I would focus on the professional, of course, but I would also see if I can support them in a way to also get the training for their personal life. If that's not possible, I would still encourage them to go for it. And as a next level, if I as a leader know that there's something you have to learn, because we're going to change our internal software system, or we're going to open up a new market, then I would say that, okay, great. Now you've learned this. Now you're this much better. Excellent. Here's another training I want to suggest for you that will help you, help our team take our results to the next level. And I like to have people super empowered and inspired to do, to bring their best. So I would most likely have an incentive that I know inspires them to really go for it.
Right.
What would you do, Nalin?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's all about creating that awareness that future can be better if we behave in a certain manner. So we need to just influence them to look at that vision. Probably that vision is not clearer to them at the moment. So if you bring that vision to people, your influence definitely increases and you get onto the right path.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So we've got the next question from Bharti Balaguragi. She says, can you say something about time management?
Bharati. Okay, I love this question. So in my little world, there there is no such thing as time management, because whether you manage your time or not, the same thing happens. Tick,
Time just happens.
tick, tock. Time is invented by mankind for us to just be able to control things better. But so what it is the activities that you put in a day, meaning your priorities. And on priorities, I could talk for a full day. But to give you something applicable, I would say know your priorities. And that goes to go one step further back. Know your values. I have 5 core values that I use as a decision-making tool that helps me know my priorities. My values are authenticity, integrity, courage, family, and humor. And I use that in every decision I make. If I get a request from a new corporate client, I check, is this going to work with first of all, I check with my family situation, because I'm a single mother with 3 children. If it doesn't work with that, it's a no. I have said no to great opportunities because it meant I would have to travel regularly to London during school days. So I would have loved that job, but it wasn't possible. So know your values as a decision-making tools for your priorities. And then in my online coaching program, I have divided life into 11 areas. Maybe you've seen the life pizza, or in big, what it is that you take all the areas of your life, for example, finances, health, social life, well-being, spirituality, family, professional satisfaction, growth, all of that. And then you look at what is most important to me, what is working really well, what is really important to me, but is not working at all. So I use that to help me really know what my priorities are. So my values and my priorities, and then I plan. Okay, what do I want to achieve? What do I need to accomplish? Where do I need to deliver? Where are my professional commitments? So I put that on a plan, and then I put it into my calendar. I do by month, by week, by day. I love planning. And if you don't have a plan, what is it they say? Fail to plan, and you plan to fail. So if you don't have a plan,
You've already failed.
you have nothing. Yeah. If you have a plan, now comes the fun. Take action on it. Action every day. Take action, even if it's small steps, but every day take action on it. So time management, in how I say it, is know your priorities, prioritize based on your values, plan it out, and take massive action. You're going to get fantastic results within that time management.
Yeah. I think just to add on to what Anika said, priorities, Pareto Principle, which is the 80-20 rule, is so important in life. 20% of your task actually bring you 80% value.
Yeah.
Or 20% of your customers bring 80% of your margin, and it just goes across. I don't know how it works, but that's how generally everything pans out in the world.
Yeah. It's like 20% of the clothes in your wardrobe, you wear them 80% of the time.
Absolutely.
And the other 80% you never wear. So take it out and give it to someone who needs it.
Wonderful. Next question we have from Sanjeev. He says, I have personally felt participative leadership works good as it enables vision and trust to build within the team. How does a person right at the top ensure the vision percolates right down in the organization? It's practically not possible for him or her to be participating with everyone.
Okay, that's a great question. Sanjeev, is that how you say it?
Sanjeev Somnath, yes.
Yeah. Okay. So Sanjeev, I love the question. So the largest organization where I have personally worked is the European institution with thousands of people. If I were to go in there today to lead and want to create that what you're talking about in your question, what I would do, knowing that it is completely impossible for me to have personal influence on every single person, what I would do is I would make sure that I had a really, really close connection, a strong bond and trust with every leader, and I would go far on this point, not just the next level down, but I would go one level down. I mean, you can do that. You can go. Let's say you go 5 levels down, if there are that many levels. You would have a personal impact on so many people, and all the people who work for them will know that, well, you're just one step away. So your vision, all of a sudden, it's not 3,400 people in between, it's one person. So I would go, I mean, I would share my big vision with everyone. I would share certain decisions or the plan for the future with the top layer, and going down, I would peel off what I share. But the personal relationship, I would build it with everyone, all the leaders. And I would make sure that they had a conversation with their team, letting the team know that the top leader is only one step away.
Wonderful. We have the next question from Elena Rahman. She says, hi, Nalin and Annika. Can you share any habits to increase confidence?
Hi, Elena. Yes. So confidence is in Latin, it means trust. So it is trusting in our own capacity to deliver. Confidence has to do with what we believe we're capable to do. So now, whether you mean confidence or whether you mean self-esteem, it's different. But for confidence, the things you can do to boost your confidence is look at your track record. What have you achieved? What have you accomplished? What have you overcome? Have you been through some really hard times in your life? And I mean, you're here now, so you came through that. Have you helped someone? Have you stepped up and delivered something when it was not expected? Did you win a competition? All these little things, literally sit and put them on a list. With my clients, I call it the top 100 awesome list. To just look at, yeah, I've done this, I've done this, I've done this. I had one client who was extremely resistant to that conversation. He said, no, I have not ever won anything, and I have not inspired anyone or nothing. I have not influenced anyone. I said, even the most introvert person, the shyest person, through a lifetime will have influence in one way or another on an average of 10,000 people. So we do it just by breathing and being alive. We influence people. It may not be in a positive way, but that's up to everyone. So the confidence, you build it. You build it by taking action. You build it by, for example, this may sound strange, but it works. So one way to build your confidence can be to start working out physically, running, jogging, bicycling, swimming. You build strength. Physical strength will make you feel stronger. And all of a sudden, you're going to feel, I'm capable. So when I was younger, I used to think that the body controlled the mind because I was competing in martial arts. So it was very much about the body had to be so strong. Now, with age and experience, I know that it's the mind that runs the body. But if you strengthen the body, it's going to, as a good side effect, also strengthen the mind. So if we feel physically strong, that will help us to feel more confident, because you know that you are capable of growing strength. If it's now in the area of, or let me just add on the confidence. You are the CEO of your life, right? You won the race of life. You won this. You've earned to be here. So the way I look at it, you should have confidence. You're awesome. You're here. If your life was a movie and you don't like the part you're playing now, rewrite the script. What is a character you want to be? Decide it. You build who you are. You build and mold and shape who you are with the thoughts of who you are. So you build your confidence. Self-esteem is about how we value ourselves. And if I look at all my clients, I could say that there's a very clear pattern. Everyone has, as if it's not number one issue they struggle with, it's number two. So it's that they have a lack of confidence or a very low self-esteem. And it shows up as either I am not good enough, I am not enough, I'm not educated enough, I'm not beautiful enough, I'm not powerful enough, I'm not influential enough, or I don't have enough. I don't have enough time, money, social status, I don't have enough friends. And the last one is I'm not worthy. You may feel that you're capable, you have everything, you have luxury, but you don't feel worthy of it. And that goes to a very low self-esteem. And the second thing they have in common is that they think that they're the only one. Every single one of us, we struggle and we have our things in life to get through. And our pain, when we have pain, we think that I'm the only one hurting. And then the third thing we have in common is that we all try to cover it up. We all try to look successful and happy and but we all have some sort of pain. If it's not directly personal, we maybe in the family, someone we love has a disease. Someone we love lost their job. Someone we love is in trouble. So with self-esteem, I just wonder, why do you work so hard to try to look perfect when you know you're not? So self-acceptance, just knowing that you're awesome. You're awesome.
Wonderful. So I hope that answers, Alina. We move on. Rajesh Sharma is asking us how to be confident without being overconfident, is what he means. Yeah.
So see, this question, I've heard it many times in different ways. Some ask, some I get the question, what is the difference of arrogance, being arrogant and confident? And when I hear this question, I can't help but think that the person who asked is not very confident, because being overly confident, in my opinion, is being arrogant. It means that you are compensating for a lack of something. Or I'm trying to think in my own life, are there situations when I'm overly confident? And I actually thought of something. It was, I was going to race my son and I knew I was going to beat him, but I didn't. He ran like a little phew, and that hurt my ego. But I think that's a side note. But being overly confident just means that you've lost touch with the nice part of you. Being overly confident, in my opinion, means that you're arrogant. It means you no longer have respect for the other person or the situation around you. It's not a nice thing. So yeah, what is the difference? Lack of humbleness, I will say.
That's right. I think empathy is the key, and then you need to have an open mindset always. Taking positive feedback is so important. I mean, if we feel that we have arrived, that's the day. That's the day that we've kind of we are no longer there.
I think those who do that, who behave like that, I think they're making a fool of themselves.
Absolutely. And
If you
and
cannot,
who are we fooling? Yeah, it's Ourselves. It's
Who
nobody
are you
else's.
fooling? You think you're perfect, or you think you're uh, if it's not in a, like, for example, this evening with my children, we're going to play Monopoly,
Yeah,
and I go all in to win because I love winning that game.
yeah.
And I have been cheating. This is the only area where I cheat, but I've been cheating my whole life. I have childhood friends. The only thing they remember me for is when I cheated in Monopoly. I'm so ashamed. But I go all in to win, and I may not win, and I'm not going to like it. But so that's the element. I acknowledge in that situation, I have a lack of empathy. I just want to win. So yeah, I like what you said, Nalin. I think that's a really good way to say it. When you're overly confident, you need to go and eat some empathy.
Yeah. Wonderful. So the next one, it's Nabil again. He says, "My greatest hurdle is imposter syndrome. No matter what, I still feel I am not enough of an expert and that somehow people will find out about me."
Oh, Nabil, I wish we could have this meeting face to face. So first of all, I want you to know this. I work with lawyers, top executives. So you're a male. I'm gonna refer to male clients I have now, and you're not alone. Huh? Just like I said, we all have self confidence or self esteem issues. We think we're the only one, and we try to cover it up. So point number two, you're not the only one. Every single male executive that I've worked with that I know have a little bit of the imposter syndrome going on, or a lot of it. And those who have a lot, well, they suffer because they have that third point. They do everything they can to cover it up. And you know what? It all comes down to self-esteem. What do you think you are worth? Who you are, who you are being. So for example, this morning I was on my cross trainer and I was thinking, how do you present yourself? You say, I'm a lawyer, I'm a tax accountant, I'm an executive. Okay, so in this crisis time, if you lose your job, who are you then? So if you can find the courage to look at who you are, who you truly are, like I am kind, I am attentive, I am caring, I am a great listener. If you start to think of you in that way, you will build your self-esteem. And if you build as your self-esteem grows, the imposter syndrome is going to fade because they cannot really coexist. So I encourage you to really start appreciating all the great things about you. Write that top 100 awesome list.
Yep.
Go for both of the confidence, like what you are capable of achieving, what you've done, what you've delivered, performance, and go for self-esteem, who you are being. We're human beings, not human doings. So on the top 100 awesome list, write both what you do and who you are being. And if it's hard, think if you had an identical twin. That would be the closest relationship you could have. And ask that person, what would they say about you? They would start immediately and they would go dun, 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 all the great things about you. Sometimes it helps to take an outside perspective because we're so stuck in our own perspective of our flaws, our shortcomings that we all have.
Right.
Yeah, I hope that helps.
Yeah, hope that helps. Thank you, Bharti. Thank you, Geetu. Thank you, Elena, for your kind, encouraging words. Before we go, I think we'll just cover up two more questions, Anika. Um, is it a fact that are women generally less confident than men, or are men so good at faking self-confidence and women are not so good at?
Okay, so this is a little bit of a sensitive question, right? The gender issue. But if you look at when we're little, typically you hear girls mature faster in school. They're a good student, they do their homework, whereas the boys just make trouble. And then comes puberty, where the woman, her body will change and get shapes that are sometimes makes her feel uncomfortable and start to doubt herself, and she retreats, she pulls back, whereas the male body grows, and there's muscle growing, the nose grows, I mean, the shape, the frame changes into strength, power. So from a physical perspective, the male from teenage years on has an overhand, a physical overhand. And I think that a lot of people, I mean, we're preconditioned from our
Right.
upbringing.
Right.
Boys are supposed to be strong and bring in the money and don't cry, don't be a man. Whereas girls are supposed to be nice and quiet and behave and don't make a mess and don't stand out. So we're preconditioned. So I don't think that men are necessarily more confident, like I shared. Looking at my clients, oh my goodness, they struggle. And they have, for men, I think it's even worse. I sit with grown men who are super successful from the outside. They run their own businesses, and they break down in tears in one-on-one sessions because they say, I can't hold it together anymore. I don't know where to turn. I'm expected to be successful, to deliver, to grow, to be this, to do that. I have the nice car. But they're not allowed space to be tired or weak or to break or fall apart. Whereas women, for us, it's okay. We can cry, we can share. We are even encouraged to. We meet, we bond, we have our girl talks. So I don't think that men are, like, by nature or something, have more confidence. They have the physical overhand. Yes, they're
Right.
physically stronger, most of them. But I think all of it has to do with preconditioning. We're supposed and expected to be this thing, and then most of us just step into that, and then most of us are uncomfortable. The poor men, suffer because they never got a boot camp training or a master's degree or anything in how to be a man.
Right.
They're just expected to know. Whereas the woman knows nothing of what it's like to be a woman, but still supposed to do it. But she can still express how hard it is. You can look at, take social media. You can see women expressing in groups how hard this is. And I never saw, maybe just because I'm not part of it, but I never saw the same kind of sharing and tribal support in the male universe. There it's more about showing, I did this, I got a new position.
Right.
So I wouldn't want to be the one who's always expected to be strong, because when you're the strongest one, when it breaks, it's hard.
Wonderful.
Did that answer the question? I
One
got
last
so excited, I
question.
forgot what the question was.
No, it's awesome. One last question again, keeping women in mind. There are a lot of women who are working in the corporate sector, but I think they take a break from job to take care of children, to take care of families, and then when they want to come back to work, they face a lot of challenge. Their self confidence is at a low. They are not able to find the right job matching commensurate with their experience and capabilities. So there is a lot of feeling of lowness in amongst those women. So how do you address that?
Okay, that's another great question. I had the great pleasure of working. So it was through Vodafone. They run a program called Returners. I think it was 3 years ago we started working together, and it was that exact thing. It was academic women who had been on a parental break, and there were two who have been stay-at-home dads, also academics, who, in the whole lovely package of parenting, they lost their identity, because before becoming a parent, they identified with their performance. Like I said before, they were human doings. They were a top lawyer, a top analyst of some crazy data I didn't understand. They were their job, and when they left that job, they lost that identity, and their life has changed so much so that they may want it back, but it's not compatible with their life anymore. So there's loss, sorrow. That, I mean, this is not something we talk about. How do you carry that loss, that like the one you used to be, where you were everywhere all the time, just delivering, saying yes, growing, building your career, and then all of a sudden it doesn't just stagnate, but it falls because you lost it. It's gone. And you're not going to get it back. You can never get it back like it was. You should never say never. I know about never say never. I know about one lady who has rebuilt her career to exactly what it was before. But that's an exception. Most people, men and women, more so for women, because generally they take more of the child raising block. But I think, like with the question about imposter syndrome, and what, as I see with all my clients, you need to build who you are. You need to build the relationship with you, not based on your CV or your salary or what your boss gives you, but who you are. To rebuild, maybe it was never there, so maybe it's a matter of building to begin with. If you had it, then focus on you again. I remember when I went for the first time on a trip without my children. So I had 3 babies in 1 year. That's impact. And then they were 4, 4, and 5. And I went with my neighbor on a trip. And I walked from the hotel. The first 2 days, I don't remember anything because I was so stressed about my children. The third day, I walk on the little wooden steps down to the beach with my swimsuit and towel, and all of a sudden I just started crying. I just whoop, and I took my towel and I was like, oh goodness, what's happening? And I was like, so I checked in with myself, what's going on? And my mom brain thought I miss my children, but it was not that at all. For the first time in 5 years, I felt like me, like the one I was before my children. And I had forgotten that nice feeling. I get super emotional now because I literally forgot what I felt like when I'm me, because I became a new version of me.
Sure.
But the truth is, I really, really liked the old version of me when when you live in a universe where, it's just a whole different world. So I encourage any woman and man who's become a parent and lost their professional identity to go and find yourself within. It may sound like well, but it's so important. I think every one of us, we try to show up for others, to deliver for others, to the point that we forget ourselves. And then we feel like we're living our dream life because we have this super awesome job where we get bonuses, we grow, we get acknowledged, we feel like we get proof and input that we are valuable. But growing a relationship with oneself, I think that's the greatest thing you can do for yourself.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Anika. I wish this conversation can just go on, but we've got time limitations. Thank you so much for being on this forum.
Thank you.
We had a real conversation, and thank you to the audience. We had some really
thank you for all the questions. I loved it.
And thank you to the entire team of TLRNOW for organizing this, especially Mr. Udayan Trivedi, without whom this show wouldn't have been possible. Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.